Welcome to Wisdom Talk Radio, a collaborative community of explorers in conscious living. Welcome to today's episode of Wisdom Talk Radio. This is where we explore the depths of conscious living and how to live an expanded life. Join us here to be inspired and encouraged and even transformed, and to tap into a deeper experience of joy and of possibility. I was recently a guest on Michele Meiké's podcast called Awakenings. And our conversation ranged through all things in the consciousness spectrum. I mean, we went kind of far afield, and I'm not surprised by that. So today, though, I've invited her to join me here on Wisdom Talk Radio. So who knows what's going to emerge as we come together in energy? We certainly don't. So be part of it and stay tuned. I'm Laurie Seymour, host of Wisdom Talk Radio and CEO and founder of the Baca Institute, home of the Quantum Connection Process. You can go over to the Baca Institute to discover your unique connection with the essence of who you are by taking the Quantum Connection quiz. I always ask this question of why quantum connection? And it's that we are each designed to directly connect with Source in our own way, and for each of us that's different, even though a quiz is certainly slotting you into certain archetypes. This starts you out because knowing your own style, your own way of moving in the universe opens a deeper connection for you with the universe. And it's the secret to creating what you truly want in your life, because who you are is exactly who is needed. So I already told you that my guest today is Michele Meiché, who is known for her work in spiritual guidance, meditation, and self-development. And that doesn't really cover it. She is an author, transpersonal therapist, a hypnotherapist, and a psychic channel. Michele acts as a visionary and bridge for the unified field of consciousness in the new paradigm, New Earth. She is helping to bring higher conscious awareness, understanding of the soul and the soul path, education and awakening into the mainstream. Welcome, Michele. I'm really, I'm curious about our conversation.
Me as well, Laurie. Me as well. Yeah, I kind of got piqued when you were saying, you were here, with what you have and what you have. And I just think that's so much the soul. And I think that's where we're going as individuals and as a collective and as humanity. Next evolution.
Evolution.
Yeah, is living from a place.
I think it'd be useful for our audience to appreciate that we're talking about those different levels. In other words, we're talking about the individual. And at the very same time, that's a microcosm for the macrocosm of humanity as a whole, for our society, for the world, for a global sensing that is changing dramatically and quickly.
Yeah. I think something too to help people. I find myself saying this, by the way, the last, I don't know, 6, 8, 12, maybe even few years, is it's not so much in a way that we're doing things so differently, but we're taking it from fringe, outlier, and making it more mainstream, making this way of living more conscious, more mindful, more intentional, more intuitive. Bringing in the idea of interconnectedness or the quantum aspect of us, however people want to term that gets filtered now into systems, the organizations, the corporations. And you can see it a little bit. I mean, you could look 20 years ago, they didn't have yoga, or certain types of chefs or vegetarianism or veganism in a corporation. So we can see that, and I think that kind of takes the pressure off. It's like, because to me, it's also like not just psychic or prediction, where are we going? It's kind of like, well, if you really look, the
Mhm.
signs have been there all along.
Exactly. And they're here. And it's something I'm aware of. I was talking with somebody recently and I remembered that, oof, I don't even want to say how long ago it was. I remember writing up something and putting it, giving it out to people around being a futurist for me.
Mm.
And, people still couldn't make really heads or tails out of it all in the mainstream.
Hmm.
And that's all changed.
Yeah.
And the things that we're able to speak about now, the things that we're able to teach and to bring forward, people are hungry for.
Hmm. Yeah, it really is this veil that's lifted, and you can't, I don't even think, for some you can quantify it, for others you can't. It's just like something was picked up in the resonant fields or morphogenic fields or subconscious, however you want to put it, or by
Mhm.
osmosis, that all of a sudden people got the ping for deeper meaning and
Mhm.
purpose. And some know why, some don't know why. They just notice they're going in a different direction or wanting something else in their life, or more fulfillment, or asking questions about spirit, soul, God, consciousness, that there
Yeah,
must be something more, right? That idea there
they're
must,
asking different questions, as you just said. That's a great way
yeah.
to put it. So, given that, what are you seeing in terms of the kinds of things that people are wanting to know about, asking you about, or that you're sensing in the zeitgeist that's that kind of change.
It's interesting. I see two camps, kind of. And
Okay.
in my guides, I was told this would happen, but since I'd never really experienced it, I don't think anybody has this extreme, this chasm. That those, in fact, someone sent me a meme on this, and I'm going to post it to my Instagram stories. It has two people on a train, and then in the middle it says chaos, uncertainty, and then one person, it's all cloudy and gloomy. They're looking out the window, and then the other person's looking at the window and it's sunny and there's meadows, and it's a meme, so a little
Right.
extreme. However, that's what I feel, that there is those that maybe have a little bit more entrepreneurial spirit and or faith or trust or a mission, a purpose, something that's
Hmm.
happening, where they're not just seeing the immediacy of what's happening, but how they can take what's happening, and it's like, now it's my turn, my time,
Ah,
my way to be of service,
yeah.
my way to have more fulfillment, my way to create what's better for more people. I saw it in the pandemic, because it's funny. I get people saying, "Well, what can I do? There's too much," and I'm like, I had a lot of clients, and they started homeschooling, but then they started, and then I realized, because I did some workshops and I heard, oh, we're doing that over here, we're doing that over here, and I'm like, what?
Hmm.
They started charter schools. But
Hmm.
what happened is it took off in different parts of the country, and kind of became a thing where they got a board and they said, okay, we're going to have, these tenants and these offshoots, but other people got the same inspiration to do that.
And that's how the quantum field works. We think we're receiving a download of a particular idea. Maybe it's ours and maybe it's for us to do, but maybe it's not. And maybe it's you're picking up something that is in the field and you get to choose whether it's something for you or not. But at the same time, there are others that are out there feeling that same movement, that same urge to create in a similar way.
And that's what I'm seeing. Those that are kind of getting, I'm called the ping, and I've just had been connecting with this three-eye atlas. That's been a whole other kind of situation that I didn't think was
Okay.
going to happen. This interstellar beingness that is definitely. I had a very emotional experience with that energy, and but we are being supported. It was like this kind of pulsing energy that was very emotional, but very heart connecting and uplifting. And to your point with the quantum field, it's becoming more aware of that. So I do feel like one of the things that a lot of people will be helping is those that perhaps are kind of looking at the doom and gloom of what's leaving and wanting to keep it,
Hmm.
instead of pausing. And I have to do this sometimes in my own life with things like, okay, wait, this could actually be better.
Right.
It could actually be more abundance, more
Hmm.
prosperity, more health, more wealth, even if the path is a little jagged or uncertain or there's losses,
Hmm.
but it can get better. And I think that's something that's going to start gaining a momentum, that things can get better and do get better. But right now, what I am seeing a lot is this divide. Not so much, it's so interesting, not so much with the people that I work with, but as I'm extending out more, I'm seeing, or certain times I'll go on social media. I hate to say it, especially Facebook. I'm like, oh my God, people are really, this is really difficult.
Hmm.
And I get it, because if you don't see the solution or the possibility, and I think that's where certain people come in, like you, like me, other people that say, hey, let's try this way, or it might not be what you are used to,
Hmm. Hmm. Let's
but
go beyond the expectation.
yes, it's like the familiar, which I know in counseling and therapy. It's like people, we hold on to what's familiar, even if it isn't necessarily not only good for us, but helpful anymore, beneficial.
Absolutely. I mean, I
Because we
see that in all kinds of aspects of my work because I don't do counseling anymore
know, but
and haven't for
training
years.
teaches you
But
that.
but it's true. It's just people are still like, okay, trying to understand things through the old lens. And I was talking this morning in the meditation group about how we need to notice our changes. How we
Yes.
need to pay attention to what's different. How am I showing up differently? And then to really receive that, so we can say, oh yeah, in the acknowledgement.
Lori, that is so powerful what you're saying, because I know for me personally, but every person, every group, every workshop, everything that
Hmm.
I've ever done, the person that goes through great change, after the change has happened, they look back and say, oh, there was that's why I chose or did this, or this happened, or that happened. So that's so powerful. If people can bring in that mindfulness to, like,
Hmm.
how am I changing? And then you also feel more empowered. I know I do. When I start looking and going, oh, you know what? I'm actually, my higher self, the true me, is actually guiding me in a different direction. So when something happens,
Hmm.
or the direction fully takes form, I don't say, "Oh God, what happened?" It's like, well, I kind of was going that way anyway. That was happening.
Yeah. And when we recognize that we're guided and we allow it and feel it and welcome it, then we get to co-create with it. Because we're
Mhm.
not a victim. Nobody's going to push us, no entity is going
No,
to push us
no,
into doing something we
no.
don't want to do. But as we step into that, it's what I've been noticing in my travels, that I speak differently. I'm showing up differently. People are
Yes.
responding to me differently. Are you feeling that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. People have even said, and I attribute it also to this frequency shift in consciousness.
It
We
is,
we have
absolutely.
gone past a level. I
Yep.
could even see it. We are now. It's the past is gone. The old frequency vibration, and
Hmm.
mental constructs and beliefs that go along with it. No, I agree with attracting
Mm.
differently, feeling differently. I have friends that say, "Gosh, your heart seems more." Not that you weren't open, Michelle, but and I'm like,
Yes,
"Ah,
yes,
I was a
yes.
little closed, a little wounded in that area." And they're like, "No, you just feel so open more and just sparkling." And even my manicurist said, "That's some. What are you doing, Michelle?" And I said, "Healing. I don't know, healing." I said, "No, nothing. I haven't had anything done." I said, and she's like,
You keep evolving.
"That's the key." And that it's that dance with the quantum aspect of us in all the ways that we term it, whether it's you, me, God, nature,
Hmm.
the trees, the animal. I feel once people get that, and then you feel safe also. You're like, oh, I'm in this
Yeah.
co-creation. And I do believe that is soul-led living. And getting also guided by spirit.
Mm.
I do believe that is a big part of the awakening, is people recognizing the signs and that they are being guided by this other part, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
And I say the simulation is your higher self. Like, I agree. It's nothing outside of you or people on another planet pulling strings. It's
Hmm.
us.
Well, because if we realize that, just like in the quantum field, that we are an aspect of everything that
Mhm.
exists. We aren't separate. That it's when we start thinking, oh, I'm separate from
Yeah.
something else. I can't really connect with source because source is so much bigger than me. But if
Mhm.
we realize that we're that microcosm of that holographic piece.
Yes, the holographic and seamless connection. We're just
Hmm.
holographic, but yes, seamlessly connected and living more from that
Hmm.
understanding. I think the more people can connect into that, the
Hmm.
easier the changes are and become. And then you
Yes.
allow you're in the mystery, you're in the unfolding, and you're recognizing, well, I must have whatever it takes within me to get through this or do what I want to or need to because I'm here. And I
Mhm.
know it's for some that's a leap, a quantum leap,
Right, right.
literally.
Or a leap of faith.
Yeah, leap of faith. But I do see more people opening up to that. It's funny in my workshops I've had and in groups like on Patreon and stuff. It's like for years I had to have the mantra, whatever you're doing is right for you. Trust that. Don't get caught in the noise. And then all of a sudden I started saying that, oh yeah, Michelle, yeah, we're not paying it. No, we're creating this. I just started this. Oh, I'm developing this app, or we're coming. And it was like, oh, they've shifted. They don't that
Ah,
message. Yeah, they're saying,
ah.
oh no, I can't do anything about that, but what I can do is this, or I did that. Oh, I'm not getting pulled into that. I'm not getting pulled into that narrative or that noise. And I do feel a lot of people waking up going, okay, the way that I can help is by being that more aligned me, more soul connected me.
Mhm.
And what can I do individually? And then in that spirit of play or co-creation, what can I do with others to not just make it better for myself or family, friends, or
Mhm.
colleagues or humanity? Now people will have some place to go, or they'll have the book, or I'll write that book that'll help people. That music. That's what I'm also starting to hear now is this kind of,
Interesting.
yeah, kind
Mhm.
of a proactive, like, yes, things are dissolving and dismantling, but people have to have somewhere to go and something else to do. And so I tell people you can choose. You could be in maybe you're meant to be in the dismantling, that's fine.
Mhm.
Or are you getting that soul call that you want to create something or build something? You want to put some steps there that people can go to.
Right, right. So it is that creation that we're both seeing and supporting and nurturing along. I mean, how is it that you find yourself working with that with people? How are you facilitating that?
Yeah, I think, great question. I think it is, first of all, having them to discern where they're at.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of a little cheeky. I have my little humor. Sometimes I will say, oh, did you want to be on the front lines over there when they're all caught up? And I'm like, doctors at border, you want to go volunteer? Oh, no, I can't do that. I said, okay. So you have two choices. Do you want to go over there? Go ahead.
Uh-huh.
Or, oh, no, no, what I need, I go, then that's your call. What you're doing
Mhm.
is helping.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of one client of mine that has a fairly large company and all the people they employ. And I said, also, you're bringing a more expanded consciousness not only as a, employer and
Mhm.
owner,
Mhm.
but managing in your division. You're doing your own inner work. Uh,
Mhm. Mhm.
you're bringing that consciousness. That's helping others. You're empowering. That's what's radiating out. So I think first to have the choice, the realistic choice of what do I really want to do, not what I think I should do or social media
Mhm.
stuff,
Mhm. Mhm.
but what's my real soul call, what my inspiration and my joy, and once you kind of identify that and you're okay with it, I think the next thing is to create a plan. You have a vision, but you put a plan in place because plans get acted out. You put some kind of
Uh-huh.
steps and support. I just don't think we can do this without
Mm.
support of each other and groups. I feel the group, meditation group, whatever the group is
Hmm. Hmm.
that is similarly aligned, doesn't have to be the same, could even be totally different in a different area. But that, so then you look side to side, you see, yeah, they're doing it okay, and you're just getting that energy. And in a way, we're just talking about what naturally happens in life anyway,
Yes, yes.
right?
But it to put that into place deliberately. I mean, I am finding so much that people are hungry for that kind of connection, and part of it is the support. Part of it is the remembrance together. We, as I remember, you remember, and that catalyzes more of that.
Yes. And to your point with the groups, is also to know others are doing similar. And
Ah,
again, I think the empowerment to know that the individual is very powerful. The group or the institution or the organization or a system doesn't change until enough individually, the individuals within that.
mhm,
That's the
mhm.
call. And I think when people realize that, then it's like something in the zeitgeist, it's in the subconscious or the, quantum field, things change. I always use also very mundane, but use fashion,
Uh-huh.
music,
Mhm.
comedy, movie. No one has to go out and say, no one's watching this anymore, doing this. And it's just a feeling. It spreads out, kind of like that hundredth monkey,
Yes.
experiment.
Hmm.
So again, I think the individual, and I'm also an astrologer, so I'd have to say this Uranus and Gemini, the Pluto in Aquarius. It's the individual within the group. So I really feel that part of the empowerment for everyone is realizing, like, no, I am making a difference by how I live. It is
Ah,
not
okay.
only, between, like right now, between you and me, it's, or, the immediacy within a neighborhood, a family, a relationship, or like a teacher at a school. No, it's radiating out into the quantum field. There is an energetic, a vibrational frequency
Hmm.
that is emanated, and that changes the complex of vibrational frequencies and resonance in the mainstream consciousness and
Yes, yes,
world.
yes, yes.
That's, I think, once, and to me, once I really was getting that and living that, I felt so much less pressure.
Like I have to do something specific and it has to have this impact or that, because, everything as we know comes down to energy anyway.
Yes.
And we are experiencing, at least I've been noticing very much so, that there are new frequencies coming onto the planet at this
Oh,
time.
yeah. And they're very different. You really have to be much more intuitive.
Hmm. And in tune with
In tune,
allowing that.
yes, it's magnetic. I was told years ago from my guides, probably in the mid to late 90s, because one of the ways to also look at it, because the Earth was shifting, it's already shifted. The Earth was very magnetic, but due to the pole shift, it's become very electrical. So we as the counterpart to the Earth, on the Earth, we need to be more magnetic to be in balance, to be in alignment vibrationally,
Mhm.
energetically. And if you look at the what soul attunement, soul alignment, connecting into the frequency of the soul, it is, like you said, it's much more magnetic. You have to wait for the inspiration, the ping, the input, the
Mhm.
message from the higher self or God conscious, whatever, because it's no longer the false self, the holographic self, or the wounded parts, the ego, the lower level density, the beta consciousness. We're going to be living, and we are living more from that alpha theta, awareness, which is very magnetic and very receptive. So yeah, I think great point you said, the receptivity and the allowing
Mhm.
is, I think, game changer.
So when you're there in your groups or with your clients or however that is, how are you reminding, helping people to to step into that allowance, to step into that, I think of it even as surrender too. um, into that co-creative space.
Meditation, mindfulness, allowing. I developed this alignment meditation that immediately connects people into their higher self, that
Hmm.
frequency, that aspect. And in fact, I've had people say, "Oh, I feel like I'm out there, like hanging." I go,
Hmm. Hmm.
the little tiny you that's like this big, you're extending or expanding beyond that. It's interesting when I started doing a lot of predictions and having visions, and they were just accurate. I mean,
Hmm.
the whole pandemic thing that I predict everything. And I would tune in with my higher self and then also the guides I work with and spirit. And I'm like, should I put a video out? Should I, YouTube? I'm thinking, okay, every single time for 20 plus years, no, teach people how to connect to their own intuition and understand their own inner knowing.
Yep.
Every time. No, teach people how to connect into their intuition and trust their own inner knowing. They have to develop this. Now, all these years later, I see why, because all that stuff doesn't matter, because in the new emerging consciousness of the new paradigm, you have to be connected to your intuition and understand that quantum aspect of you. And like you said, have that allowing, be more magnetic, receptive. And so yeah, the bells and whistles of all the other stuff and oh, that's cool. And how can I prepare doesn't
Hmm.
really help anyone prepare because they have to do it on their own.
Right. I love hearing you say this because this is something that's really important to me.
Mm.
And I know even in my book, Unconditional Remembrance, I speak about the way that the church was formed based on intercessors, based on someone
Yeah.
else telling us about ourselves, someone
Totally.
else being the communicator to God and the communicator from God to you, whatever we want to call God. And if we don't know how to connect with our own inner guidance, then we're not knowing how to run this machine. We
Yeah.
have been given so many gifts, and it really is it is the way that we are created. So we'd be foolish not to,
Oh, yeah.
but we've been very foolish
Yeah. Well, it's been an old narrative of the separation and a
of
lot of
separation.
manipulation to keep people disempowered and that's changing. In fact, I have found myself, I'm just thinking of someone I worked with yesterday, actually, another business owner, and they really wanted to develop their intuition to use for themselves. But they also said they wanted to be the best. I won't say exactly what they do, just in
Yeah,
case
yeah.
you watch this. But and I had to stop. I said, you already are the best at what you're already at that level.
Hmm.
And then they said, oh, well, they'd gotten an intuition about a certain person they were going to hire. And then actually the business coach led them to get the person. I said, well, your intuition is, I kept pointing, your intuition is telling you something. You let it play out because you're a business person, but
Hmm. But now
trust,
what? Hmm.
yeah, trust, don't put everything in because you're getting this. Well, it turned out that their intuition doesn't, because they said, well, I hired this person now, but I didn't get a yes. I didn't get this is the one. And I said, but you did get the message. You didn't get the funny feeling that it wasn't the one. So your intuition comes in to say something's off, like bad fruit.
Hmm.
I said, that's very powerful. You reinforce that, develop that, then it can come in different ways.
Yeah.
But if you're getting, oh, I feel good about this person, that's your intuition. Your intuition before said something's off. I don't know.
Hmm.
I feel odd. And to go, that's your intuition saying
Yeah.
this is not the one, or it's not going to last, or whatever. So I think that helping people, even as people coming to me, whether it's like a channel or astrology or however people want to, come to me for guidance and insight, I still have to bring it back to them. What do you think? What do you feel? Take what I say, put a pin in it, write it down, put it over here,
Hmm.
and then see what you're getting. Because I think any other way is disempowering,
It is. It is.
right?
It builds dependency on
Yes.
something external, and I truly do feel as we develop that, as people develop that, it becomes far more than intuition.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really becomes that inner guidance system, and we get to rely on that, and we
And
can
we're
rely
meant
on
to.
that,
And we're meant
and
to.
we're meant to. Exactly.
And I
Yeah,
think
beautifully said.
people that do like what you do or I do, it's up to us to help develop that, reinforce, and guide that you have that inner GPS. And I always say we have an inner GPS, but when that doesn't work because you have to have a location, you have an inner compass. So we always have this navigating principle through the higher self. And I do believe at some point, and I'm already seeing it not just within myself, but people that I work with, that not only becoming very intuitive or getting messages through their body kinesthetically, but becoming more psychic and even more telepathic,
Mm,
that they're picking things up. And I think at some point it's just the reinforcing. I always think of myself the kind of the coaching out. That's what I'm here to do.
hmm
Like when
hmm
I used to run or I used to dance, my teachers didn't tell me, they might say, this is the choreography or you have to point this way or do this or when I was a runner, but they recognized my style or my way
hmm
and helped me with what I came in with.
Yes, yes.
And I think that's part of the really the next step of evolution is how did you, I think you said at the intro, how did you come in?
hmm
And
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 how
let's
are you wired?
yes, let's work with that because
Hmm
that's the truth. That's
Yeah.
authenticity and genuineness. And I also see, I mean, I'm going to say big changes with social media as to what's gaining traction.
Ah, really?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I already saw this a few years ago of the what I call the fall of the celebrity and the
Hmm
stars, and everybody wanted to be like that, them. Not that there's not going to be that or people doing movies, but that kind of um, false, undulation, this
Yes.
just kind of that's what I should be or strive for. Um, but also that more people individually will be doing not so much just the media aspect, but putting themselves genuinely out there in what they do, whether job, career, or their gifts,
Mhm.
their business. And you're starting to see that. So I do feel that the individual is going to gain more, that idea of being an individual and how are you wired and what's your unique,
Not
what it,
not being like somebody else. Is that
yes,
true? Hmm
yes,
hmm
absolutely, absolutely. That it's kind of the wiring, but also what are taking also different things that you've learned or studied or
hmm
from your life experience and putting it together to make something that's more individual to you.
Yes. And realizing that what co-creation means is we don't take on just even what spirit gives us.
Mm,
We are in co-creation. Spirit can't do anything without us doing things in the physical.
so true. It doesn't
So
get done unless we do it.
yeah, so we've got to act. We can't just sit on a mountaintop. We can't just meditate. However, we can receive that inspiration and then act on it. I mean, a couple of years ago, developed a course called Inner Guidance Mastery Blueprint. And
Mhm.
it was to teach people about how to connect in those ways and then how to sustain that. And when we do that, wow, we're creating so many solutions that haven't yet been seen in the world.
Yeah. And something you said, Lori, I want to go back to where you said, not even from spirit that we receive. I think this is so important because archetypally we come in with there's these archetypal energies and the mental constructs from them and the beliefs around them, but we have to individualize them. So I always say somebody might have come in under a teacher. They might feel guided. I'm a healer, I'm a teacher, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
manager, I'm a whatever, a baker. But you have to bring it to the soul level and individuate it and individualize it to how do I want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big thing because a lot of times people that I work with, they'll get to a place on the soul path and they're like, well, I guess I have to stop. This is too mundane, or this is like regular. I need to do this. One situation I always cite is a client of mine that did a lot of investing for corporations, companies
Mm-hmm.
investing in their, I guess, other companies for them, making them money. So making a lot of money and flying around the world. and then did all this work, and they love astrology,
Hmm.
great astrologer. And in fact, they did the charts of the businesses that they would end up telling people to invest in, just kind of as a backup and fun.
Hmm.
And they said, I think I have to be an astrologer. This isn't spiritual. And I said, woo, wait a minute. I said, you want to sit hour after, one on one with people. That's what, well, not really. I go, no, you don't want to sit, you're flying around big companies in the, I go, I
And
don't
it's a
see that.
false narrative to say that what they're doing is not spiritual. Like
Exactly.
it separates that out. It's, this is spiritual and this isn't.
Exactly. We had that conversation, but what they ended up doing
Hmm.
was they overtly brought the astrology in and said
Uh,
in the meetings, hey, I just want to show you also, I do this. And you know what they said, the businesses? I'll never forget. They said, even if you put a bone in your nose and came in with a rattle, we would still keep working with you because you're so good with what you do.
wow. Wow.
So I said, look, it's just you have to feel more fulfilled. What's the different combination that you want to bring into what you do?
Hmm.
All living from your soul's purposes. That's what is, how do you want to mix it up now? What's the combination that you're doing? It's not necessarily being overt or, the books or online or I go, and some of those people are affecting less change than someone that is just being a maintenance
Being who
person.
they are.
Yes, and being of that higher consciousness.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think that's a really important thing is that everything is spiritual. Everyone is spiritual. Everything is love in varying degrees. Obviously, the more wounding, the more projecting, the vibration kind of comes in a little bit.
Hmm.
However, when we see everything is spiritual that I'm doing, it's just how do I do it is
What
what
is
makes,
my unique expression of that?
yes. And how does that connect me to my spirit? Now, I do get, because a lot of people are making changes where they want more meaning and purpose and fulfillment with what they do.
Hmm.
It could be a job change or career change, but it may not. It may be just be bringing something else or seeing where you're placed. There's a reason that you're there and bring in your tools, bring
Hmm.
in your awareness. I worked with another person that kind of went through the same thing and then they were meditating and I said, well, I said, I just feel like it's cut off. I don't, and I said, but you're the owner. Bring in, you want them to meditate or you want to do an affirmation in the beginning of the meeting? I go, I don't know. Just bring you in.
Right.
And then that's what they started doing. And they said, oh God, everybody loves it. And they said, I feel good because now I'm basically helping people. I'm making them aware
But
of
they
this.
were already, weren't they?
They were ready already.
No, no,
Well,
I mean they were doing that already. They were even before that helping whatever words you want to
yeah,
attribute to it. But it's there's something it's like sometimes people get caught in the phenomena of it. Ooh, I want to give them an astrology reading. I want to meditate. I want to do
yes,
fluff. It can become fluff. And
yes. So
people can get caught in that as opposed to the truth of what do we want to create here today?
yeah, yeah. Well, and also it's like the difference with your meditation as the practice or the way to connect in. It's not about the meditation, it's the meditative state. It's getting in
Mhm.
that consciousness. But I like with her, I get it. She was able to bring in it a bit more overt or intentional that
Yeah,
this is also who I am. They kind of
right,
knew.
right. It's kind of like I don't want to hide that part of me.
Yes, so I
Yeah.
do understand that on that level, but I think it's both. I think if we realize that it's our consciousness that's affecting the change. Because I know plenty of people that were like, oh, I meditate every day, or I was in the ashram, and they're so mean and angry that I'm
Right,
like,
right.
you know, maybe you need to do some other work or something.
Something else, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
the
the
patterns are
snappy.
staying the patterns.
Yes. So once you're healing, yeah, that energy is emanating out. It's radiating out, and that's the true healing or empowerment is what comes
Mhm.
out, not how we get there to do it. I mean, that could
Right.
be fun and interesting, but yeah, it's that.
How we're showing up as we're waiting in line at the supermarket, as
Yeah,
we're asking for coffee from our favorite barista,
yeah,
whatever it is, how are we treating people in our world?
Yeah. Do you think, I think it will. I'm not sure the picture yet of this, but I do feel that is the next step is people really understanding what they're, not that we have to be perfect. Maybe you get a little
Mm,
snap
yeah.
together, but for the 90% of the
Hmm.
time that you realize you're this frequency and you're radiating this out and it is affecting change. And then
Yes.
other people are beaming to you as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm just wondering, what do you think about that?
Well, I've been talking about that for so long, for so many years. And, when you ask the question, I'm aware, I think people are much more
Aware of that.
sensitive to it, aware of it, um, noting it. Not sure if people are really valuing it yet.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's true. I think we're in between. Is this really working? Am I doing this? And is this of value? And
And
I
this is
think,
a value. Yeah.
yeah,
Is this really happening?
yeah,
Am I describing it differently? Am I fooling myself? Whatever's that level of self-doubt. But then it's also realizing, wait, that's why I was talking today about that supporting or recognizing, not supporting, but recognizing your changes is
yeah.
because part of how we see our changes is to see how people respond to us differently.
Yeah.
And think about that. Is
And
that
that's the
valid?
navigating principle that piece of the cognition, or the cognitive aspect, has to happen. Otherwise, we do not institute the change and it becomes the new patterning. And
Right.
I agree with you. It's so important. And again, it's that mindful, you got to pause, you got to look, you got to check in and go, oh yeah, that
Mhm,
is different, or I am attracting differently.
mhm,
I
mhm,
just had someone I was working with last week say that, and it was so empowering. Yeah, I am attracting differently. I am doing this differently, and I am having different experiences.
mhm.
But you're so right, Lori. We have to, unless we see it ourselves.
And it may be that you hear them say that and acknowledge it, and then you say, "Do you hear what you said?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you aware
They
of?"
saw it. They were like claiming it. They were like,
Wow, that's so
oh,
cool.
that was amazing. But I do think that's an important piece is that, and by the way, I think we're going to have the time, the energy, the focus to do that. I think that's part of that receptivity, becoming more
Mhm,
magnetic or electromagnetic frequency shift,
mhm.
is to take the time to notice um, where we're at, or just how far we've come, or how we've shifted, how we're, like you said, attracting differently and getting different experiences.
And
You
that
know,
all the change that happens at that electromagnetic level. As you
yes.
used that word, I haven't heard it in a long time. When we opened the first Turea Center here in Denver, it was the Turea Electromedicine Center.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big proponent of the electromagnetic frequency and working with that, your own biorhythm, your own
But
rhythm.
people were not,
Oh, I know. I've been
it's
talking about
like,
this for 20 plus 30 years. People
right,
didn't want to hear about all
exactly,
this.
exactly.
And I'll tell you, I think why is, and I get it, is because things like The Secret, which I'm not a proponent of,
Mm,
all this, you can think it, you can do it, this pushing
right.
was not. And when you talked about the soul, like your own blueprint, what are you here to do? Well, I'm here to do whatever I want to do. A lot of those people are realizing, no, that's not true.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
so I think the earlier narrative, unfortunately, that the pushback, and I know I saw it because people didn't want to hear that you have a purpose, a reason, a blueprint. Now I feel people are getting, okay, within that, I could still have a very delicious, I call soul juicy life. I can still,
Absolutely.
aligned, and it's even more fulfilling. And again, I think that's going to be also the dismantling of all this,
Yes.
the intercession, the celebrity, the star, all of
Mhm,
that
mhm.
I'm, where it's like, oh, I am that of my own life. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
What
I'm
do I
delighted to
really
hear
want?
you say that because I mean, not just because it mirrors what I think, but you really that you come with a whole other set of experiences, and I appreciate what you're seeing as a result of that.
Yeah.
So,
No, I'm definitely seeing a big difference.
mhm,
Even on my podcast, because we've had the podcast since I think 2008.
mhm.
It's very, I think when you were on, I said, boy, this is different. The fluff, what you said, the fluff is leaving. Because around between 2010 and 20, especially 2011, 2012, but I'd say
Mhm.
about 2010, 2011 to about 2015, even 60, I was kind of worried. I was like, oh gosh, where this is like flim flammy,
Mm.
Fluffyville. This is
Mhm.
like what's happened. People are way off a wrong track. This
And
is,
that's when I started the Baca Institute, was right in there. I mean, we really went live in 2011. And it felt like sometimes like I was slogging through things because I was putting out all this other stuff and people were still drawn to the fluff,
the fluff,
to
but
the
that's
phenomenon.
changing.
It is changing.
Yeah, big time. People are looking, going, okay, what's
It's
real?
real. Yeah.
And why is this not working? And it's like, well, is that part of your path? Is that what even if is that even really what you want to do? Let's
Correct.
get
Yeah.
clear on that. But yeah, that when I started seeing the other came in, I was like, okay, this is great. This is good. Because if I
Uh,
hear one more person that tells me they woke up 5 years ago and why everything, they know everything now, and I'm still trying to know things. Or why is this taking, I've been working on this so, my heart open, and how long has it been? A year I've been working on this. I'm like,
and are you willing to go to the next level and the next level and the next level? There is no infinite, my heart open, therefore.
yeah, well, it really was. And the thing is, I would say, things can happen sooner, but let's just make it a lifestyle choice, conscious living. And if something happens sooner, great.
Exactly, exactly. Oh, Michelle, how can people find you in the world?
Oh, wow. Okay. So, soulplayground.org, if they want to
Okay.
go to website. I have a Soul Path and Soul Awakening community on Patreon, which I'm very active. I love the connection there with
Mhm.
everyone, and we have monthly meetings. Um, YouTube as well, Instagram at Michelle Meiché. So pretty much all the
Okay,
socials as well as way to connect.
great, great.
Yeah. I've loved
And
this.
that'll
This is
all be
just
in the
that.
in the show notes too,
Oh,
but
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I know it's good to sometimes say because sometimes
it
people
is.
they'll say, "Oh, I don't want to. I just wanted to hear, or I heard it, and I'm going to write it down, or whatever."
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I feel like we could keep going, couldn't we?
yes, yes. Well, maybe next time, right?
Right, right. And
I
I knew that I wanted to have you on here on Wisdom Talk Radio. So thank you for being here, for being such a great guest.
Oh, thank you. I've really enjoyed connecting with you because I do feel like we're doing similar, but coming from different kind of sides, and it's so overlapping. It's like there's some amazing reflection there. So I
Mm,
appreciate
hmm. Yeah,
us.
and I appreciate when I discover that, when I feel that, and because we speak about it differently, that's even all the better.
To me, it's a big confirmation. It makes
Hmm.
me very excited when I see, especially in the more corporate or systemized, I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
Hmm.
Because that's really what we need, you
Right,
know.
right.
That's a big part of this next evolution
It is.
is within the groups, the organization, the systems, and it's
Hmm.
individuals going in there, doing it or
Hmm.
overhauling,
Exactly.
co-creating something new system.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you again, Michelle Meiché, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for being you.
And thank you to our listeners for being with us here today at Wisdom Talk Radio. Remember, we're always putting out new episodes, and you can join us here regularly for more wisdom, discovery, and illumination. And if you've enjoyed this show, please leave us a review because that's how other people find this kind of not just material, but the capacity for transformation. And that's so important in what we're doing here in the world. And for your own personal connection, if you want to take the quantum connection quiz, go over to the Baca Institute now and discover that. And then you can pick up a copy of Unconditional Remembrance, Your Connection to Source, wherever you buy your books. Thanks for joining us here at Wisdom Talk Radio. We wish you well in your conscious explorations. For more information and to join in the conversation,
Our website is wisdomtalkradio.com or at Wisdom Talk Radio on Facebook.